Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to 31 Days of Pomp-o-ween. If you're new here, then welcome. My name is Pompberry, and this month I'm releasing one Halloween video a day. If you're not new here, welcome back. It's lovely to see you again. So today we're going to be doing one of my all-time favorite characters from one of my all-time favorite movies of all time. How many times can I say all time in one sentence? I don't know. I'm going to be doing Jareth from Labyrinth. So yes, the late, great David Bowie. That's why I've got the different colored eyes. I've done a Jareth inspired look in the past, which if you haven't watched, I'm going to leave the link up here for you to click. That one was inspired by the ballroom scene, so I used blues in the eye makeup. If you've never noticed, his makeup does change throughout the movie. During the ballroom scene, he has some blue bits in his hair and his makeup gets a little bit blue and he gets a little bit of lip gloss on his lips. And you can definitely see that he's wearing makeup, like he has a lot more face makeup. He's got some matte highlighting on his cheekbones and all that. Maybe some baking under the eyes, I don't know. But since I've already done a look inspired by that scene, I'm going to do the regular old Goblin King today. As you can tell, I've already done my base, just some basic foundation and concealer, and I'm going to get right to it. But before I begin, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and be sure to hit that bell button if you want to be notified whenever I upload, and I'm sure you want to see some more Halloween goodness. So be sure to hit that little bell, and let's get started. So I wanted a more natural finish to my base. I wanted it to look more like healthy skin rather than caked on foundation. So I went in with the Milk Makeup Matte Foundation, and I set it with the Milk Makeup Blur and Set Powder. Now this foundation is very full coverage, so I used very little of it and applied it with a damp sponge, and I feel like I've gotten a pretty natural result with it. I should also note that today I spent the day watching Pose on Netflix, and I was sobbing for like 2 hours straight. So my eyes are quite puffy today, so please ignore that. But I also didn't do very extreme concealing under my eyes because he does have a little bit of an under eye darkness going on. They didn't do a full beat on him. And then one last thing before I actually get into doing makeup, you'll notice that my brows are bleached and part of my ends are shaved. I used to shave the end completely off. Now I've got a little bit of a tail, but we are definitely not going to use the end part of our brow. So if you have a full-on brow, I would suggest doing a brow cover up from the arch of your brow to the end. And if you don't know how to do a brow cover up, I have a tutorial on that, which I'm going to link up here. Or if you don't want to go through the hassle of a brow cover up, you can take a spoolie with some concealer and just go against the grain of your hair to really make sure you get it at the roots, and then you comb it with the hair. And if you work it in like that, you should be able to hide your brows really well. Okay, so now that I've talked for like 10 hours straight, I'm going to do my eyebrows. For my brows, I'm going to go in with the Morphe 350 palette. It's got a really nice selection of different brow appropriate colors. And I think I'm going to start with this one up here. So I'm going to cheat that my brows are lower than they actually are. I'm not going to fill them in all the way to the top because they are bleached, so I can get away with that. So I am going to lower my brow. I'm just drawing them really straight for now. I like using powder because I feel like it coats all my hairs pretty evenly and I have really good control of it. His brow shape also changes depending on the outfit and scene, but as a general rule, his brow was very straight, also very close to his eyes. He barely has any lid space. I want to make sure to keep the brow bone clear of any product. And then when we get to what would be the arch, instead of arching down, we're gonna arch up. So you just go boom, like that. If you have dark brows and you want to do this, I would recommend running some concealer through your brows to lighten them up and then changing up the color to a lighter brow color. Otherwise, it can look really weird having really dark brows with blonde hair if you are going to go for the whole getup. Then his brow is also very long. It comes very close to the bridge of the nose. And then once I'm pretty happy with the shape, I'm going to go in with the ColourPop Brow Boss Gel. This is a clear brow gel. It's more like a pomade. It's really thick and it's great for like spiking up your brows. And I just want to get these little hairs because I still have the end of my brow here. I just want to make sure that they're sticking upwards, following the shape I created. I just want them to get out of the way so that I can take a little bit of my foundation on a little flat brush and just make sure that these little brow hairs at the end, which you can probably barely even see, just want to make sure they're really well hidden. I want to pretend like I have no hairs at the end here. And I just have like 3 hairs, but I want to make sure that it looks clean. Now, you can probably see that the color is darkest here where my hairs are, and then it looks really light where it's just skin. So typically what I like to do for that is I take a color that's just slightly darker than the one I used. One of these colors, I'll mix it in with the one I used and just apply it just to the tail end. And that kind of counteracts that and just blends everything in together. See, so you can't see anymore where the hair ends and the skin begins. Just looks like it's all one thing. The one thing you have to make sure with these brows though is that this isn't squared off. You still want this to be a curve. So if you need to, just clean up with a little bit of concealer or foundation or whatever. And the points don't go too high. Like mine are already a little too high. His are much more tame. So you can dial it down a little bit. I'm gonna do that just by cleaning up with a little brush. Now I'm going to move on to contouring. I like to have my brows and skin done before I do my eyes, and his eyes are super simple, so I do want to concentrate on the contouring. So today I'm going to be using the Lunatic Cosmetics Contour Palette Volume 1. This is what it looks like. This palette is great for contouring people of all skin tones. These colors look super dark, but they're really great for really pale skin because as you can see, they are very, very cool toned. They're like the ashiest brown you can find, and that's what you want for contouring. So I'm going to be using a tiny little contour brush, and I'm going to go ahead and dip into this color right here and give myself some amazing cheekbones. I'm going to go a little bit higher than where the natural dip in my cheeks is, so I would normally contour here. I'm going to go a little bit up because I want to give the illusion of super, super high cheekbones. So by doing that, you kind of reduce the space and make them look super, super high up. I'm going to bring the contour all the way into my hairline. And to mimic his face shape, because he has really, really insanely good bone structure, I'm going to take the contour and do a kind of upside down L shape with it. And this is going to simulate his face shape a little bit. And this is a tip for making your face look a little bit more traditionally masculine, is bringing the contour down once you reach kind of the center of the cheek. To keep cheekbones quite feminine, you always arch it up and do very like sweeping motions. But for more traditionally masculine faces, especially David Bowie's bone structure, I'm bringing this contour down. You can observe this shape on men with really, really intense cheekbones, like Spike from Buffy, for example. You can definitely see that dip right here in his cheek, and that's just what we're trying to simulate. And I'm taking very little on my brush, as you can see, because this is quite a dark color, so I am trying to go slow with it, build it up slowly. It's much easier to not commit mistakes when you're going very, very slowly. I'm also going to dip in a little bit to this color as well. It's a little bit lighter and it'll help me buff this out. And it has a tiny bit of warmth to it. It's still quite a cool toned contour color. I'm going to concentrate the bulk of my contour, so to speak, right here. And always blending it out into the rest of the face so that you don't just have a harsh line. So I'm kind of just going back and forth over this contour and kind of in all directions so that it diffuses that line a little bit more. Now I'm taking the darker color and I'm just concentrating it right here. You can see how this slims down my face. I already have a very long face, but this kind of helps to elongate it even more and slim it down. Really make it look like I have really good bone structure. I'm also going to take that contour and do just the end of my chin a little bit to kind of tie this together with kind of the entirety of my face. If I just have these colors right here, it can look really weird, so I always like to take whatever contour color I'm using, do it on my chin a little bit, also around my temple, forehead, and it just kind of makes it look more natural because you have that shadow on all parts of your face. And then we also can't forget to contour the nose. In his makeup, his nose is very, very contoured, and it's kind of like a stark line, really. It starts at the eyebrow and the contour is almost like a continuation of his eyebrow. So I'm just taking this color now and going just straight into the eyebrow and bringing it along the sides of the bridge of my nose, but I want to really slim up my nose. And his nose contour like isn't even blended out or barely blended out. It's really just like 2 lines down his nose. But it's almost as if, because it's so unblended, it's almost as if it's just a continuation of his eye makeup rather than actual contour. And if you look at the pictures, it really just looks like a stripe down the nose. So you don't have to fidget too much with it. I think what I'm going to do is take a smaller pencil brush so that I can really kind of define that line to kind of showcase that it really is on purpose and not just that I forgot to blend my contour. But you don't want it to be too dark, so if it gets a little intense, you can just use a brush to kind of blend it out a little bit, but it's there. You can see the line, but still looks good, I think. Now I'm going to do a light bit of highlighting with a matte highlighter, also from the same palette. I'm going to be using this really pale yellow shade here. And this color is really, really light for me, so I'm going to be really light-handed with it. Obviously, just use a powder or an eyeshadow or whatever that's a few shades lighter than your own skin tone. And I'm going to concentrate that on my cheekbones to really accentuate them even more. I'm also going to concentrate it right here under the eyes. He seems to have this part really, really bright and illuminated, but not like under the eye. It's not like concealing his under eye circles. Like he still has, you can still see his under eye circles, but he has this part of the cheek very bright. And I guess his bone structure helps with that, but you can see just by highlighting this a little bit how much it accentuates the cheekbone. And I'm going to highlight my jaw a little bit because that will help to accentuate the contour as well. I don't want to go crazy with this. I'm even going to blend it out a bit. I'm going to highlight the very top of my chin, then down my nose. And what I like to do is I like to press the brush so that it becomes really thin and I can just whoop like that. Don't even have to get a whole other brush. Then I'm also going to do a little bit in the center of the forehead just so that there isn't just a stark nose highlight. It kind of continues and bleeds onto the forehead as well. But you can see this side is much more defined now. And sometimes you can define much better with highlights than with contour. So you don't even have to go heavy-handed on the contour if you're doing a correct highlight afterwards. What I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate that highlight right here where you would normally put a shiny highlight. Just gonna concentrate that just right there, and that'll pop out that cheekbone even more. If you want to go the extra mile and really kind of imitate his facial structure, you can highlight under here to kind of accentuate this part under the mouth. And that's typically, not always, but typically a very masculine characteristic. I'm going to highlight there, and then to accentuate that even more, I'm going to take my contour color and just contour around that and see how it creates that little, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know the technical term for this little puffy undermouth thing, but it's a thing and it just helps, especially if you have a very traditionally feminine face and you want to transform yourself into a traditionally masculine face. Little things like this little detail can make a big difference. Blending that contour down. And then another little optional detail, and this is just because Mr. Bowie has very prominent smile lines, so I'm gonna go and accentuate mine. So I'm taking a really small kind of flat brush, and I'm seeing where my line is. You can scrunch up your face, you can smile, and I'm just gonna essentially draw a little line right there. The trick is to blend it out so it's not super apparent that you just drew a line down your face. This is just, as I said, an optional little detail, but I feel like it does add to the makeup. I feel like it definitely will make you look a little bit more like Mr. Bowie. You don't have to go super intense with it, because this is not an old age makeup, but he definitely has these lines going on. And he's got some pretty prominent 11s going on too. That's also optional, I guess. Just gonna do it very lightly. And then another little detail. Since we're here, I'm gonna contour my nostril. He's got quite prominent nostrils, I feel. I'm just taking that same color, same brush, Just really kind of just tracing around my nostril. And that's it. That just adds a little something. And going back to what I said about accentuating a contour with a highlight, I'm just going to take that light powder and accentuate this little smile line we just created to make it a little bit more pronounced without making it deeper. Then you can also accentuate it on this side as well. And same for the eyebrows. Just going to highlight that real quick. That just makes the lines a little more prominent. And the nostrils too. Now for the eyes, it is very easy. We're just gonna cover this entire thing with white and then do a little dark thingamajig at the end. And I'm gonna use the white in this palette. Just gonna use this palette for everything. And go straight in. He has very hooded eyes. Mine are not hooded like his, but he barely has any brow space. This actually makes my eyes look hooded. That's crazy. Just from accentuating the crease area where you would normally contour, that totally makes my eyes look hooded. Oh, that is wild. Power of makeup, everyone. And I'm going to use a flatter brush so that I can be more controlled with my application around the eyebrow area. And he also has white on his lids, I believe, but I might darken mine just to add to that hooded eye effect. I am applying some white to my lids, but I'm going to apply it less intensely than on the rest so that it seems a little bit darker, a little bit more sunken in. And then if I really intensify the white right at my crease, that will really add to the hooded eye effect. And you want to stop kind of where your eye stops with the white. You don't want to go past this, and it just goes straight up and meets with the eyebrow. Now for the outer portion of the eye look, I'm going to take that same contour color that I used on my face, and I'm going to take it starting where my eye ends and going straight up to sandwich the white between this color and the eyebrow. And it does have like a bit of a curve to it, so I might have to go back in and fix it with a white. Hold on, I don't want to lose that curve. So you can go back in with a white and just make sure that curve is still there. And then it pretty much goes straight out here, and then you just kind of fill in this triangular shape going up. I'm using this little flat brush that I use to do the smile line so that I can be really precise with the application. This is the Royal & Langnickel Omnia 601. This is a really, really handy brush to have to do like little detail work like this. I really like this Omnia line because they're more professional focused brushes. They have really, really good shapes to them. If you're curious about checking them out, I do have a discount code with them. It is pompberry. So that'll save you some money off, but they're pretty affordable as is. So it looks a little something like this. It is quite thick, but I widened it slowly to make sure I had the shape just right. And then I'm also going to take that shade, pack it onto this little brush, and run it right along my lower lash line. I think he might even have a pencil on the lower lash line, but he doesn't have anything in the waterline. I feel like this connects with the corner, so I feel like he might have a line along the top lash line too. So I'll do that in a second. I'm just going to finish up the other eye first. Now I'm going to take the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the color Limitless Brown. This is a brown that isn't too dark. It kind of matches the eyeshadow that I used. And I'm just going to line as close to the lash line as possible, just to bring it out a little bit. He definitely has some liner around his eyes. Then it goes all the way into the inner corner. Then it connects with the top as well. So I'm going to go ahead and line that, but again, as close to my lash line as humanly possible. And you see, this really helps to bring out the eyes, especially because he has light colored eyes. This really makes them pop a bit more, but it's a very subtle detail, and it's not too much. It doesn't add a ton of intensity to the look, but just enough. Now we are almost done. He doesn't seem to have anything on his lashes or his waterline, so that's really it for the eyes. Now for the lips, I'm just going to use a colored lip balm, but before I do that, I do want to line them to make my mouth seem wider, and I might try to make it seem narrower as well. So how to do that? Just take a little bit of your foundation, First, I already have some lip balm on, so I'm just going to blot that off because I don't want the product slipping around on my lips. And now I'm just going to take some of my foundation on that little brush that I used to clean up my eyebrows, and I'm just going to paint the contours of my lips. That way I can underline them so that my lips seem narrower. Now I think I'm going to take the NYX Nude Suede Shoes lip liner just because it's very similar to my natural lip color. And I'm just going to redraw my lips the way I want them. So I'm going to underline them, meaning I'm not going to take the line all the way to the edge. And then I'm going to extend the outer corners to make my mouth seem wider than it is. And same thing for the bottom lip. This lip liner might be a little too light. And I'm just going to take a slightly darker lip pencil. This is the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the color Wherever Walnut. And I'm just going to darken the outer corners to make the illusion seem a little bit more believable. Just darkening that entire corner and then just blending it into the lip line. And then same thing for the lower lip. Oh my god. It's freaky looking at my face like this. Now he does have a kind of peachy tone to his lips, so I'm going to go in with the Milk Makeup Kush Lip Balm in the color Nug. This definitely has a very peachy kind of orangey undertone, so I'm just going to apply that all over. Being careful not to go over where I outlined, obviously. And then I feel like this is a little too much shine for his regular makeup. His ballroom lips were definitely shinier than this. So I'm just going to blot that off just like that. And it just has a very slight sheen to it, just like that slight lip balm sheen. And I think that's it. I want to do one little tiny thing. I'm going to take my little tiny little brush that I use for the eyes and the smile lines, and I'm going to contour right under the bottom lip. He has this very deep shadow right here. I think that's it. I think we're ready to put on the wig and the outfit and grab the accessories. Oh, there are accessories. So I'll be right back to show you the finished look. Hello. I just wanted to show you one little trick. This is obviously not a lace front. This is a very cheap wig from Amazon. If your wig doesn't cover up your sideburns and it looks very obvious that it's a wig, what I like to do and what I'm going to do right now is I take a little bit of spirit gum and I'm just going to apply that right here in front of my sideburns. Make it get tacky. And the way you make spirit gum get tacky is by touching it over and over again. And then I'm just going to take some of the hair and stick it down. That way it's covering up your little sideburn area, and when you move it's not going to get out of place and it's still going to be covering up your sideburns. So you can see the difference between the two sides. Here you can quite obviously see my own hair. I suppose you could do this with wig tape as well, but I find this is really easy, really simple. And then you just take some of that hair and you just stick it down and boom. All your non-lace front wig problems are solved. I cannot take myself seriously right now. And I have a crystal ball. I just can't. I just keep laughing. I cannot keep a straight face with this makeup, with this hair. Now, as I said, this is a very cheap wig from Amazon. I tried to make it work. I flattened down the bangs and the top a little bit, and then I backcombed these little side pieces so that they would stick out because he does have some longer pieces kind of coming out of the top of his head. But I'd say that he is the king of mullets. Like, let's be real here. And yeah, contact juggling. Whoa. For a while, I think in high school, I decided that I wanted to learn how to contact juggle, and I can a little bit with a larger ball. I still have my practicing ball. It's like a lot larger than this one. I don't think I can do it with this one. Ugh. I'm like afraid that I'm gonna drop it. Hold on, let me take a step back from my desk. I'm gonna try and I'm probably gonna fail miserably. And if this falls and breaks, I'm gonna be very sad. So hold on, you need to put it the back of your hand first and then, I can't do it, I can't do it. Shit. Yeah, no, I can't do it. I can pretend, I can hold it, but I can't do the and he didn't even do his own stunts. He had someone stand behind him and do the tricks. Kind of like that thing when you have a friend stand in front of you and you stick your arms out and you control it as if it's their arms. That's basically what they did for this movie. Yeah, so I can't, this fell on my toe. Like, it hurt. I'm not gonna attempt that again. I might be able to without the glove. Let me try. Let me try without the glove because there's more grip to it. It's too small. That's what she said. Man, I haven't done this in years. Oh, I'm starting to sweat because I'm like nervous right now. I'm doing it very, very sloppily, and it's not a fluid motion at all. But I'm doing it. I'm like legitimately sweating right now. Maybe I should stop doing this. But it's so much fun. I believe the juggler was juggling 4 balls at once, so he had 3 at the bottom and 1 sitting on top, and he'd make the bottom 3 move. I can't do that kind of stuff, and I only have 1. So that's it. That's Jareth. Very simple, very easy to do. You will be a hit at parties. Everyone knows who Jareth is, and I feel like anyone can kind of pull this off. The really special thing about Bowie is that he had such an androgynous face that you really can't go wrong. Now I think I'm gonna go freak out my husband because he hasn't seen me like this yet. Oh my god. I wish this wig was a little bit better. I honestly do, because it's a little party city. But listen, I couldn't afford to get like lace front wigs for every single look. I'm doing 31 looks, okay, people? So I had to cut down on the costs, even though I want to thank my patrons so much for helping fund this Pomp-o-ween. I truly could not have done it without you guys. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a Patreon and I use the funds that I get from Patreon to invest into my channel and into making bigger and better things. So all the costume pieces, everything that you're seeing today and in my other Pomp-o-ween videos were all funded through Patreon. So I am so grateful for all of you who support me on there. And I'm also super grateful to all of you who just watch my videos. Even if you're not a patron, I still appreciate you so much. You have no idea. But yeah, that's it for today. I really hope you liked today's video. I thought it was a lot of fun. I've dressed like Jareth before. I was invited to a labyrinth-themed birthday party, and I just kind of grabbed whatever pieces of clothing I had, and I used my own hair for the look. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I think you can't go wrong with dressing up like David Bowie. Like, there's just... you're always gonna have fun when you do that. No matter what Bowie you're dressing up as, it's gonna be fun. So yeah, let me know down below if you'd like to see maybe more David Bowie looks. Which ones would you like to see here on this channel? I probably won't get them done in time for Halloween because I have a lot of other stuff planned for this month. But if you really want to see me do another Bowie look or a few other Bowie looks, I can definitely do it in November. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to all my patrons who support me, and I'll see you tomorrow for more Pomp-o-ween. Bye.